Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Fashion Wizardry here, aka Matilda, and today I'm going to be doing a makeup do's and don'ts, kind of like makeup mistakes you might still be making. I would put a disclaimer, but you know what, you do you. If there's a certain way you'd rather do your makeup, go right ahead, miss, ma'am, sir. But I'm going to be showing you makeup mistakes you might still be making. I used to make some of these mistakes up until like last month, so we're in this together. Without any further ado, let's get straight into this video. One don't that you might still be doing is not applying moisturizer. Moisturizer is key. How your skin looks before the makeup comes on really does matter, so take care of your skin, she'll take care of you. So on this side, I'm going to moisturize. I'm going to be using this moisturizer. It's called Aloe Gold. I got this from my esthetician and I've been loving it. It smells really strongly though, so that is one thing I don't like, but it gets the job done. So I'm just gonna be generous on this half of my face and I'm just gonna apply moisturizer. I usually do let my moisturizer sit for a couple of minutes before going in with everything. So I'm going to work on this side of my face, and obviously no moisturizer on this side. No primer is the next thing. Like priming, for me, I know some people don't like priming, and if you go in with a moisturizer you could skip priming, but for me, I feel like priming your face provides this barrier between your skin and the makeup. So for me, priming is essential, and I honestly do recommend that you get a primer that you like and you'll be good to go. But yeah, on this side, no primer. We're just gonna go right in with our foundation, which is making me kind of cringe. But some people do this, and I just want you to see the difference. Today's foundation, like every other video, is going to be the L'Oreal True Match Foundation. I love this foundation so much. I'm in the shade Cappuccino, and I'm going to be using a dry beauty blender for this side. So using a damp beauty blender just helps you work your foundation in better. It helps it sink into the skin so beautifully, so naturally. But if you use a dry beauty blender, you really aren't doing anything for your foundation. You're just bouncing it off the skin, which is what I'm going to do on this side. So yeah, I'm just going to take my foundation, pour some onto the back of my hand. I am cringing so much. I used to use a dry beauty blender when I first started doing makeup, so this is something I used to do. I'm just gonna go in on this side, cover everything, the imperfections and everything. And on this side, I'm not going to take my foundation down my neck, because some people don't do that, but I think you can get away with that if your foundation matches your chest. Some people, like me, I have a darker neck and my chest is light, my face is light. So if I don't take it down my neck, it looks like I have a mask on. So I'm just going to do that on this side. And I'm gonna cake on the cake, because I do love me some full coverage. And then I'm going to take a dry beauty blender and I'm just gonna push this into the skin. So, honestly, I don't know why I used to do this. It just doesn't let the foundation do its thing. It just sits there on top of the skin like a mask. Also, I'm actually doing the correct thing. Instead of tapping, some people just drag the foundation down. It doesn't really give you coverage. If you're just pulling it down your skin, you're gonna look weird. But it does have some coverage though. Not gonna lie, there is coverage. Just don't do this. Don't do this. It's not even good for your skin, because you're just being so harsh, you're dragging it down, and you're just gonna look droopy in the end, and you're gonna age quicker, which you don't need, okay? So on the do side, I'm going to go in with my primer. This is the LA Girl Pro Prep Primer, and this is a mattifying primer. I do love me a matte primer. I feel like it blurs my pores and just makes my foundation look matte, because I do have combination skin. It also makes your skin smooth, that way your foundation has something to stick to and it just glides on super easily. My hair is disrespecting me as usual. So I'm just going to take the same foundation, pour it on the back of my hand, and I'm gonna evenly spread it across my face. And on this side, I'm gonna bring it down my neck I'm going to use the damp one on this side, and I'm using the back of my sponge, and I'm just gonna tap that into the skin. As you can see, this just looks so fresh. So, put that in my mouth. Sorry about that. It just looks fresh and dewy, and it just sets into your skin so beautifully. So right off the bat, as you can see, this side has more coverage than this side. I practically use the same amount of foundation, but just tapping it in makes sure you get that coverage from your foundation and you're not just dragging it down. On this side, I feel like, yes, there's coverage, but it's really not there. Okay, so that is my foundation done. I'm going to move on to eyebrows. The product I'm using on my eyebrows is the Ardell Brow Pomade. I love this stuff so much. So on this side, I'm just going to blockily, if that's a word, just fill in my brow like a block. As you can see, I don't have that many eyebrows. I probably should tweeze them, but I'm letting them grow out because I want to have brows. It's a dream of mine, but I just don't have brows, so I have to fake it. So on this side, my don't side, I'm just going to dip into my pomade. I'm using the brush that came with this, by the way. Taking a spoolie, I'm just gonna brush that up. I'm just gonna fill them in very blockily, if that makes sense. So just draw a very harsh line. I'm gonna follow my eyebrow hair shape, and yeah, like, oh god, this is making me cringe, kind of making me cringe. So I'm just gonna fill it in like a block. And I know you've all heard of the beginning of the brow being a bit sparse, but that shape is not attractive at all. So I'm just gonna fill, like some people just do this hair stroke kind of thing at the front and assume that that is a good brow. Okay, so no sis, like it's not the worst brow. I did used to do my brows like this, I'm not even joking. So on the do side, I'm just going to take the same product, gonna tap into my product, and I'm gonna brush my hairs up. Obviously, we know that. I've seen some people actually do this, like just do this at the beginning of the brow, and that's it. It actually does look better. Okay, I see you guys might be onto something. Okay, we're gonna leave it like that. I'm going to do very light strokes on my eyebrow hair. So I'm just gonna do a line beneath my brow. Just gonna do my line, and instead of following my hairs, they do go down a bit. I'm going to try lift my brow up just a tiny bit. So I'm just gonna create a new line. So now I'm just gonna fill in the brows in like imitating hair strokes. That's what I'm trying to do. Gonna pack a bit more product towards the end. Using the product that's left on my brush, I'm just going to create some hair strokes here at the front. And what I usually do is I brush the front of my hair with the spoolie just to make it look a bit more natural. Okay, so those are my brows done. I actually don't think this side looks half bad. I just feel like it looks blocky and unnatural. It does nothing to lift my eye. Whereas on this side, I purposely put the foundation to give my eye a bit of a lift. I hope you guys can see that. This is just like bleh. But this one is like, hey, what's up? Now I'm priming both my eyes with the NYX HD concealer. I know eye priming, most of you know about that. I'm just going to blend this in with a brush. Then I'm going to set both sides with the Xoxo Buttercup powder. Okay, so on my do side, I'm going to take a blending brush and I'm just going to use this to pack on some color on my crease, and this is going to be like my transition shade. And I'm going to use, I've fallen in love with this Eye Magic palette. I'm just going to use the color right here, which is Smoked, and I'm going to use this on my crease. So I'm just gonna tap off the excess. Just place that on my outer V and blend it inwards. I'm also going to blend out the harshness. With eyeshadow, you really want to take your time and blend out the product. That way you're not looking crazy. So what I see some people doing is using the same brush for everything, for blending, for packing, for everything, for cleansing their soul, cleansing their face. Like, they just use it for everything, and you're supposed to use a different brush to blend, a different brush to pack. And you can easily get brush sets off AliExpress for like $3–5. So just invest in something and you will thank yourself for it. So on this side, I'm going to use the same color, but I'm going to use a flat brush to pack, and I'm going to use the same brush to blend. Yes, so I'm just gonna take some of this and pack it onto my outer V. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attempt to blend with this. This is not even good for blending. Like, it just doesn't work. It refuses to do that. Some people can make it work, but I'm just not that talented. Like, look at that. That just looks weird. You could make it work, but you're making your job 100 times more difficult by not having a blending brush. And you're going to be packing on way more product than necessary. And it's gonna look muddy. It's not gonna look blended. It's just gonna look off. So as you can see, this side looks very soft and blended, whereas on this side, that does not look blended at all. So yeah, no. Taking my brush, I'm going to take Sing and pack that all over my lid. So that is our eyeshadow on. On my do side, with such a creamy eyeshadow, I tend to just use my finger to pack it on. So I'm just going to use my finger and pack it on. As you can see, there is a difference. It looks more foily on this side. I'm just going to pack it on. Once that's packed on, I'm going to go back in with Smoked and just blend these two together. So I'm gonna add a bit of Smoked on the outer V and blend it inwards. Taking the same brush on my don't side, I'm going to use this shade, which is Drive, and I'm just gonna pack that in the middle of my lid, just like that. Taking a different finger, I'm going to dip into Drive again and pack that in the middle of my lid. So just like that. And I'm gonna blend it on both sides outwards. Taking the same brush I used on Smoked, I'm just gonna blend out the edges. Just a bit. So as you can see, this side looks more harsh than this side. This just looks more blended and better in my opinion. Moving on to eyeliner, I'm using the gel liner from Maybelline. This is in Noir Black. Noir Black. I think that's French. So I'm going to use a brush that comes with the eyeliner, and I'm just going to draw a line that curves upwards. So just like that. As you can see, I just did the outer corner first, and then I'm just gonna drag this inwards, just like that. I think my liner is drying up a bit. So I'm gonna use a different brush, see if that helps, because this is picking up a lot of eyeshadow. I'm just gonna really pack on the liner. Yeah, that's better. Make sure you fill in the gap between the wing. Just don't leave it hanging. On my don't side, I'm going to use the same brush. And what I see some people do, this does work for some people, but just like literally following the shape of the eye, not trying to lift it up at the corner. So I'm just gonna start at the inner corner and I'm gonna pack on the same amount of product. So I'm just gonna follow the eye, go like that, and then flick it out at the corner like that. Just basically have like a straight line right across my lid. Okay, so taking the same brush and my foundation, I'm going to clean up both wings. So I'm gonna use foundation, and I'm gonna clean it up just to make it look more lifted. So I've cleaned up my wing on both sides. I definitely do need a bit more practice with my wing liner. I haven't done a wing in months. But yeah, as you can see on this side, my eye does look a bit lifted. Whereas on this side, it just looks, you know, it does nothing for the eye. Quickly moving on to mascara, I'm going to use the Lash Sensational from Maybelline. And on my don't side, I see a lot of people do this. They just like coat the ends of their lashes and that's it. Like this does nothing for your eyelashes, just coating the end and that's it. So what I usually do is I take my wand and I wiggle my wand at the bottom of my lashes. So wiggle, 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 wiggle. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stroke the mascara over all my lashes. And then I'm going to back comb my lashes. And then wipe off the excess from the front. Now it's time for some lashes, and I'm going to be putting some very natural looking lashes. These are the Red Cherry lashes in style 213. So I'm going to start with the left side. What I've seen most people do is take the lash right off the pack and put it right onto their eye. So that's what I'm going to do on my don't side. So I'm just going to take some glue. This is my Ardell lash glue. And with lashes, they come with this, like not all of them, but most of them come with this pokey end that is gonna be so uncomfortable for you. But let's just do it how they do it. So I'm just gonna place it right on my eyelid. So as you can see, the glue is wet. That is not cute. So what I've seen most people do is you don't trim your lash, you don't let the glue dry, so you're left with something like this. What I'm going to do with my do side is I'm going to take my lash, place it on my eye. So I feel like I can cut off like two bits, one bit. So I'm just going to trim off the end, just a bit. That way she's looking nice and it actually suits my eye. I usually cut off the end. Once I've trimmed my lash, I'm just going to apply the same lash glue to my band. And I'm going to let the lash get tacky for about 20 seconds. Oh my god. Not 20 minutes. Now I'm going to put on the lash on my do side. I'm just going to look down and place it right next to my lashes. And then I'm going to press my actual lash with my fake lash together, just to make it look a bit natural. Okay, so these are both of my lashes on. On my don't side, my lash is very uncomfortable. I can feel it poking into my eye, and that's not the best feeling. You want your lashes to be comfortable, whereas on my do side, it feels very comfortable. It looks better. It doesn't look like a mess. I hope you guys can see that, and I just think this is better overall. Okay, now the eyes are done. I'm going to move on to the rest of my face. I'm going to do concealer next. And the concealer I'm using today is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. and my chin. Going back to the don't side, I'm going to use the same dry beauty blender, and I'm going to drag my concealer instead of tapping it in. So basically the same thing we did with foundation. So I'm just gonna drag that, and you will see, oh, I forgot the sides of my nose. They do get a bit mischievous, so I need to bring them back to my level, okay? So generally, coverage-wise, I think this does nothing for your coverage. I mean, you still get some coverage from your concealer, but it's not what you'd get if you were using a damp beauty blender. And my nose is kind of hard to blend, half and half, but I'll try. So as you can see, it's not bad, but let me show you what a damp beauty blender does. So I'm just gonna push this into the skin. So as you can see, with the same amount of product, I got very different coverage from the concealer. Like on this side, it's less covered. This side, as you can see, my deep setness has disappeared a bit. So you definitely get more coverage when you tap in your concealer as opposed to dragging it down. Moving on to setting the concealer, I'm going to take my very dry beauty blender on my don't side, and I'm not going to tap off the excess because I see some people doing this kind of baking thing. So I'm just gonna push this in like that, and I'm basically just gonna set everywhere I concealed. I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna bake on this side, to be honest. On my do side, taking my damp beauty blender, I'm going to dip into my powder, and then on the back of my hand, I will take off the excess powder, just so that I don't have so much powder on my concealer, like setting my concealer. And then I'm just gonna push the remaining product into my skin. I'm gonna heavily set my smile lines and my forehead. Okay, now that we are baked to perfection on my don't side, I'm just gonna dust off the excess. And as you can see, on my do side, I'm eating the powder. On my do side, it just comes right off because I didn't use so much powder. But on this side, it's like, girl, you know? Moving on to contouring, I'm going to take my Sleek highlight kit, and using the contour shade on my don't side, I'm going to go very heavy. And I used to do this, and I'm so sorry if you learned this from me. I apologize, I take it back. I didn't know who I was back then, so I'm so sorry. On the don't side, I've taken a lot of contour powder, and I'm just going to suck in my cheeks and contour away. So I used to do this. As you can see, what this does, it brings your cheek very far down and you just look a bit droopy. And the fact that I'm bringing it all the way to my mouth just makes it look weird. So I'm just going to take the same exact brush, tap off the excess, and then I'm gonna dip into my contour shade, not too much, tap off the excess again. So my wig is hiding my ear, but I basically want to come like this. So I'm just gonna contour just this part, just here. And then with the remaining amount, I'm just gonna bring it down a bit, but I'm gonna carve it in a way. And then how could we forget the forehead? I'm going to go in with a lot on my don't side, and I'm gonna bring it down like that. No, that is not cute. With the product left on my brush, I'm just going to go in, and this time I'm not going to bring it all the way down. So I'm just gonna focus on my wig line and just contour just a bit. And I'm going to move on to the don't side and contour my jawline. So I'm going to do it up here, which is what I used to do as well. So I'm just gonna be very harsh with this. Like, yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna add a bit more product tap off the excess. And then on my do side, I'm going to contour under my jaw. So, like this. You just want to add a shadow where there is already a shadow. You don't want to look weird. And obviously hide that double chin because we all have it, don't lie. So once that's done, as you can see, this side is looking very naturally contoured. Obviously it's not natural, but this side just looks very harsh, all up in your face. You are getting onto people's nerves with this kind of contour. I'm joking. But yeah, it's just a bit much and unnatural. It doesn't look good in my opinion. Moving on to blush, this eyelash is really trying me. I'm going to use a dense brush for my blush. That is difficult to say. On the don't side, I will really pack that blush onto my brush. And I'm just gonna go in. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna follow my contour line because that's what I see most people doing. So, and then I'm gonna bring it past my smile lines just a bit. So and blend it upwards. So this just looks very unflattering. It's not making your cheeks look rosy. You kind of look like you just have a weird pink blob on your face. On the do side, I will take my brush, dip into my blush, tap off the excess, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to smile. What this does is it helps you find the apples of your cheeks, and you're just going to look rosy and flushed, which is what blush is for. So I'm just going to smile a bit and place it right here. That's where you want to place your blush. So just a bit, then you blend it upwards. Don't go past your smile lines because that's when it starts to look weird. So just like that. So as you can see, my blush is very subtle, very rosy. It just adds that rosy glow to your cheeks without looking too over the top. Now we're going to move on to the fun part. I'm going to do my waterline. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I used to do this all the time, and basically what I did is line my waterline on the outside, which is very unflattering, as I'm about to show you. So taking my pencil, this is a Wet n Wild pencil in Baby's Got Black, and I'm just gonna line on my don't side. I'm going to line my waterline on the outside. I was too scared to go into my actual waterline, so this was the next best thing, or so I thought. So what this does is it leaves this gap. I've actually filled it in a lot more than I intended. I meant to go lower. Basically, this just gives you raccoon eyes. It's not really doing anything for you. What you're supposed to do is take your pencil, pull on your waterline just a bit. So I'm just gonna find a way to pull it and just line my waterline. Don't be scared. This does not hurt. So as you can see, that just looks so much more flattering as opposed to this. And I promise you, I know the fear of going into your eye, but it does not hurt at all and it looks so much better. And then I'm going to add some mascara to both my bottom lashes, both sides. Okay, now we are almost done, but I think this would not be complete without a nose contour. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a blending brush. I'm going to dip into the same contour shade we used to contour our face, and I'm not going to tap off the excess. I'm just going to go in on the don't side. So I'm just gonna make this very harsh because I do see people doing this, not joking. And then bring it all the way to my eyebrow to make it look natural, and bring it just straight down. So you can see I'm using a blending brush, but this looks muddy. This does not look flattering at all. So what I'm going to do is take the same brush and I'm gonna dip into the same shade, tap off the excess. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pack this color on very, very softly, if that makes sense. So I hold it like this, like Picasso, and I just go down my nose. So something like this. You want to create the most subtle line just to bring your nose in, and on both sides you would do that. Just make sure they're very close together, that way you are contouring your nose. But now since I'm only doing it on one side, gonna work with what I have. And what I usually do when it looks that harsh, I just pack it in. Just using a clean finger, I just blend that in on the sides. And yeah, something like that usually does it for me. It's very subtle, but it's still there. Now I'm going to move on to highlighting my face, because you all know highlight is life. In case you don't love to highlight, you have a problem. So I'm going to take this shade right here. It's the most golden shade in the Kali Bible palette. This is the old edition. On the don't side, what I see most people do is bring the highlight all the way up to here, which is very unflattering. It really exposes everything, your pores. You just look weird and oily, very, very oily. Not that being oily is a problem. I just don't think it's a flattering look in this case. So I'm just going to pack on the highlight right on top of the blush. I'm just gonna pack that highlight. And I'm gonna go all the way down, almost to the edge of my nose. Yes, girl, highlight goals is what I am. So yeah, I'm just gonna really pack it on. I'm also going to highlight the forehead because I've seen people do this as well. Like really go ham right there. Glistening! So I've taken a smaller brush and I'm going to dip into the same shade. And on my Cupid's bow, I've seen people drag the highlight all the way down here. No one needs that. That is not even normal, to be honest. So you make yourself look like you have a mustache and you don't. It's just not attractive. Maybe you do, but you need to hide it. Don't show the whole world all your sins, okay? So I'm just gonna really drag this down. You're not gonna lie to us that this is a Cupid's bow highlight. We refuse that in 2019. And also my nose, because why not? Same brush. I'm gonna take it all the way down in a straight line. It's very hard to do like half and half on my nose. But to be honest, with nose highlight, I do this sometimes, especially when I want to glow. On the do side, I'm going to do the same thing on my nose, but I'm going to do like a smaller line up here and then just a dot right here. And then I'm gonna blend that in. I know it's a bit difficult to see the nose highlight because of the two contrasting sides, but you get an idea. And for the Cupid's bow, don't drag it all the way down. Just your Cupid's bow is fine. So just this part right here. Blend it in with your finger. Of course, no one is naturally highlighted, but it just brings your lip up a bit. And for highlight, I'm going to take the same shade, and on my do side, I'm only going to pack it at this point, which is the highest point of my cheek. I don't know why I did that, which is the highest point of my cheek. I'm just gonna focus the highlight here. As you can see, I am glistening to the gods, but it's not too dramatic. And yeah, just put on however much you like. And if you're gonna highlight your forehead, just be subtle. Don't go all in. Don't come for us, you know? As you can see, it's still a very popping highlight, but it's not too dramatic. Okay, so last but not least, we're going to do the lips. I'm going to go in with the Canvas Cosmetics lipstick. This is in Savannah. And on my don't side, I'm going to be scared of my lip line. I see people not fully filling in their lip with lipstick and it just looks weird. So I'm just gonna do that on this side. So what I see them do is leave a line around their lips. So it's like they're scared to go all the way. So something like this. Embrace your lip shape, okay? Just fill the whole lip with that darn lipstick. Let her show off to the world. So on the side, I'm going to obviously go ham. Cover my whole lip with this lipstick. And I'm not overlining, I'm just following the shape of my lip. Don't forget that inner corner right here. As you can see on this side, my lip is filled in entirely and it just looks more flattering that way. To complete the do side, I'm going to go in with some setting spray. This is the NYX Matte Finish Spray. I'm almost out. As you can see, technique does matter when it comes to makeup. You could have the best products, but if you don't know how to use them, you're just not gonna achieve the maximum wow effect from your makeup. And obviously, if you like your makeup like this, you do you, boo. It is your life, you do whatever you want, but in my opinion, this just looks more flattering. Other than that, I know this has been a very long video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you made it this far, you are the real MVP. Thank you so much. And if you have any tip that you would love to share with us, comment down below. I am sure we can all learn from each other. I am still learning when it comes to makeup. I'm not a pro. These are just things I've picked up along the way. Having said that, I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and that I will catch you in my next one. Until then, bye.